Hey, how are you?
Doing amazing, doing amazing. Great to see you again.
Likewise, I was looking so forward to it.
Yes, yes. How was your trip? How was your travels?
Oh my God. Exactly what I needed. It was really refreshing to see, you know, outside of my immediate surroundings and like the regular Los Angeles bubble and yeah, it was crazy. It was really good. Um There was yeah, there was a lot to that trip. Just seeing the different people and the way they interact with each other in different cities compared to where I live and everything. It was really refreshing.
Awesome, awesome. And when you say, Annette, that it was like just what you needed, what do you feel about it was like just so divinely aligned for you?
I mean, in Los Angeles, everything is kind of, as you know, kind of separated from each other, and you have to drive everywhere. There, you are kind of forced to interact with strangers every day, all the time. And I think that clicks people on more. Like they're a little more alive. They're a little more conscious because they have to interact with people that they're not comfortable with on a daily basis, and that was pretty cool. I felt like people were, I mean, not to like put Los Angeles or other places down, but people were just a little more conscious of each other
Hmm,
um, in that kind of environment.
okay.
So yeah, it was cool. Have you ever been to
I
London?
mean, for people who don't know what you're talking about, where exactly were you in the
I
world?
went to London and I went to Paris first time. So
Awesome,
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, I haven't been to London. I haven't been to Paris. I've been to Nice, France. Nice was the closest I got in France when I was crossing through Italy. So I was walking on foot from Italy, and then a friend and I, we met each other in Pisa, Italy. And then both of us, we took the train over to France. And then that's when we stopped there and we parted ways, and I went back over to Italy and it started just traveling to different campsites. So I never really made it, really penetrated France like that. I was just on the outskirts, but it
Yeah.
was awesome. It was nice.
Where'd you go in Italy?
So in Italy, I mean, I went to Rome. I first went to Milan. From there, Salsa Maggiore. There was like an Oasis Desi place. This lady named Agni. We went to her house, did some Osho meditations over there. She gave me a an amulet, this pendant. It was nice meeting her. There were some people that I met at a Pranic World Festival with Nicholas Pilarz. That's where I spoke. They flew me out there to speak. So I spoke for the World Festival in Kokore. So that was in the Fabriano province there. And then from there, I mean, all over. I was going to Pisa, this place, that place, and then at a certain point, somebody told me about taking a pilgrimage and just walking, like just walking without taking any transportation, just just my vehicle, my body. And so I just had everything I needed on my back. I had my tent that I had gotten on my, it was a pop-up tent that I got at a nearby store. I had, all my clothes in one backpack. And so I just started walking and that. And I remember, I mean, just going from campground to campground to campground. And it was amazing. I mean, I didn't know the language, fully, but I had Google Translate, so I was okay. I did fine. I think I did well.
How long
Yeah.
did you walk for?
Oh, oh my gosh. So I would walk for 2 hours to the next place, and then I would look up on I think it was either Airbnb or some sort of campsite. It might have been Airbnb, but there was some app that I had that was showing me where the campgrounds. No, it was actually Google. It was Google. So Google actually showed me where the campgrounds were. And so I just went to the next campsite, and they were like maybe sometimes $15 a night just to pitch a tent and stay there. And then I would go to the next one and go to the next one. And I was like traversing whole cities, like 2 hours at a time, 3 hours at a time, just walking. And it was awesome because, in those countries, the license plate has the whole country, you know? Like over here in the States, the license plate just has the state, and we take it for granted. Like I live in Texas, so I take it for granted that you can fit two Italys in Texas. You can fit two countries in this state that I'm in right now, So it was just like when I was walking, I would be in a whole new place, a whole new like environment, but in the same country. It was amazing. So
Wow.
to do that in Texas, I would be, whew, oh my God, the sun would have been beating me down. I would have been, not in Texas, not those long roads. But there was
Yeah.
nice country in Italy to do it for sure.
Wow. Wow. That must have been some experience.
It was. And when you were in London, you said that it was, really different. Like just the people there, the environment, maybe the atmosphere, the demeanor. What do you feel like you experienced there that a lot of people here don't really take advantage of, or maybe kind of take for granted?
I mean, I don't know what people would take for granted here. I think that people maybe take stuff for granted there. I mean, you are
Okay.
walking around these historic buildings that have so much culture and so much depth to them.
Hmm.
Here, it's just like man-made shopping malls and plazas and things like that. It
Okay.
was everything felt so much richer there.
Richard.
I mean, I guess it's all man-made, but this it's just it felt a lot less capitalist
Hmm.
revolving in some ways, capitalism, um, and I don't know. It was beautiful. Like I would just be sitting like eating fruit,
Hmm.
like monomealing somewhere, and I'd get a lot of people talking to me just based off of that. Like I made a lot of nice little interactions going on, and watching kids go on field trips to the Louvre and stuff. That was in France, but yeah, just it was really cool. Like I there was so much stimuli
Mm.
every time you walked outside, and
Yeah.
people are doing things. I mean, I would just head outside at like 1:30 in the morning for a
Mhm.
walk, and uh I mean, there's just middle schoolers out with their friends just sitting and hanging out like on the corner cafe. Just there's a lot more life
Mhm.
happening. um so it was really cool. What
That's
did you notice? It sounds like you went to like more rural areas as well as like Rome and Milan, more cities.
Yeah, when I was in Rome, a friend and I we went to there was I don't know if it was called the Pantheon or the Parthenon, something. I forget what it's called, but it was this structure, this domed building that it's like an echo chamber. You actually have to be quiet when you're inside, and you're just looking at the artwork. And I remember she said something, and I just bust out laughing. I just bust out laughing, Annette, and there's a sign like saying "Be quiet," and everybody was whispering. And when I laughed, I will never forget. I will always remember. Like it just was like the whole room shifted. Like everybody just like they all turned towards us, and it was like all eyes were on us. It was that loud. It was that loud. So
Uh,
it just bounced off of the walls, and it just put us point blank, and like everyone's eyes were just laser beaming towards us, and I'll just never forget that feeling. I was like, wow, that was loud.
you
So,
just graced the building.
oh my God, it's crazy. So when I was in the Vatican Museum, that's when I felt a lot of the stimulation, because it was just when you said about London and the history, like how historic it is and how people take that for granted. When I walked through that museum and that, I was was looking at just pieces of artwork and history and just the richness, the vastness, the just just the ability to conjure up something like this came from someone's mind, you know? I was like, when I was looking at the sculptures and the paintings and just the chapel and just the everything on the ceiling and all of this stuff, and it was like I felt drunk. I felt drunk afterwards. When I walked out, I was like, I don't even know, you know, like just like I felt tipsy, you know. So it was a lot of stimulation for sure.
Totally.
Yeah.
I felt that same feeling at the Louvre. There was like, I mean, ancient Egyptian art, hieroglyphics, like sculptures of Horus, and then you went to another area. It was ancient Christian art, and then you go into the Catholicism area, and you're just like, wow, this is the real. This is where how we got here, and
Yeah.
just exactly what you said, the richness
Yeah.
and the detail that this came from someone's mind and was portrayed so beautifully with so much detail, the colors, the everything. It was wow, drunk. Exact word, just
Yeah.
drunk.
What is what does it tell you? You know, what does it teach you? How does it reach you when it comes to us as humanity? You know, when it comes to us as a species, the like what we've done up until now, like the inventions, the creations, the art, the just everything that we've amassed during this time here on, you know, on this plane. You know, what does it kind of give you a feeling of? Like what is it? How does it impact you?
um at times when I was walking through, it made me feel, human nature hasn't changed.
Hmm.
Um, there's always good and evil. There's always the seven deadlies. There's always, faith and love. All of the feelings are just they remain, but I feel as a culture we've digressed a lot where we're at right now. It's not our fault. It's, some lunatics that are running the show, or whatever you want to think of it as. But um yeah, it's kind of sad.
What's
What
what was been the biggest digression you'd say, like that we've digressed as humanity? What would you say has been the biggest factor that's led to that?
greed,
Greed.
power, greed and power,
Mm,
because everything else dominoes off of that. The people running things are drunk off greed and power and oppressing the masses as a result of that, and the masses just do what they can. A lot of people are experiencing extreme discomfort and sickness due to things stemming off of that top layer, from metals and poisoning of humanity in various ways. So I think, I mean, when if there was a time these things weren't a factor, which I believe there definitely was, I think humanity was existing in a better state.
mm. Wow. So if there was an era, like, you know, a stage of humanity that maybe you have ever fantasized in being, like if you would have rather lived in a time period, what time period would that be?
I don't know. I think I'm cool right now, honestly. It's
You're good.
everything.
You're good here.
Yeah, we're here for a reason, right?
Right. Right.
And maybe we'll show up. I mean, perhaps we keep coming back, like, reincarnation, samsara. Um, I don't know. I haven't dug too much into that knowledge, but I definitely believe it's a possibility that that is our
Mm,
circumstance.
mm. Yeah, and as you were speaking, Melinda said the Renaissance era. I don't know a whole lot about the Renaissance era, but do you have a drawing to that era or not really?
I don't know too much about it either. Like I briefly learned about it a bit in school, but um, no, I don't know too much about it.
Yeah, I
No.
remember being in history classes as well, that I was just sitting in classes and I would fall asleep most of the time. I think the most times that I would fall asleep would be in social studies, history, uh, mathematics. There were different classes that I would just be out,
Yeah.
be gone. But so many things that I guess school was trying to teach me. But when it comes to samsara, words like these, like samadhi, samsara, samskara, like these weren't words that I picked up in school. These were all things that I learned later on, during like the spiritual journey or just getting into different things.
Hmm.
Because the reason why I asked you that was on your bio, it says something that I love. It says you're sharing the divine intelligence that is within us. You're all about sharing this divine intelligence that is within all of us. So what would you say is that divine, that intelligence of divinity that you see within everyone?
Get out of your own way. Get out of the way, and it will show itself. Truly, stop. I mean, first of all, you can approach it with physical first, which is the easiest because everything else kind of comes into place when you attack physical first. Get rid of the blockages, get rid of the impurities, the metals, the parasites, and the waste, the mucoid plaque, big time, um, and then the mental, emotional, and spiritual just organically come back in, and you really find yourself. You really heal, and you realize that everything else was just a distraction or a source of confusion from yourself.
Mm.
And your body can, I mean, it's self-healing. It's your everything, and everyone has this within them. We're just bombarded too bombarded to see that.
Yeah. No, I agree. When you're talking about finding yourself, letting go of all the layers, like shedding all the layers that block you from finding yourself. When would you say or pinpoint, Annette, was like the moment you felt like you truly found yourself and realized that a lot of the things you might have been doing were kind of like unnecessary?
I mean, the first time was when I first went raw when I was 17, and it was the most magical thing. It was like, oh, this is everything I was ever looking for, and it's not outside of myself, it's in me. And then I remember I had just gotten out of high school. I was about to start community college at the time, and I just started purging my closets, purging my bedroom, purging my bookshelf, like just of things that don't serve me, and only keeping and holding on to things that do. And then, over time I kind of lost that. I accumulated traumas, um, and blockages, mental and physical. And then when I did that extended fast a couple of years ago, I think around day, I don't know, 65 to 80, that's when it really clicked, and it was like, oh my god, this is the only thing that I really needed to do. Like everything else that I thought I needed to get done, that was stressing me out, that was holding me back mentally from, all of those things, they didn't matter at all. This is what matters, and it's putting myself back together, and being whole, because once you're whole, your mind and your intuition guides you to the next thing that actually serves you, and you don't have to stress about it anymore.
Right. Right. That is so beautiful, like the way you described it, because if people don't know, you went, correct me if 315 days on juice, like you were juicing for 315 days, no solid food.
Mm-mm.
And you're saying like between day 60 and day 80, there was a transition or like an awakening that
Yeah.
allowed you to feel like, wow, this is it. Like everything else doesn't matter. This is what matters. So what did you feel in your body? Like what was that feeling like for you when you realized like this is it?
It was like a light bulb turned on that had just been dormant for however long. It was like a compass was guiding me from there on, and nothing could get in the way of me messing with that anymore. it
Mhm.
was it was just stop worrying, it doesn't matter, just listen to yourself, just listen to your insides, your gut, and other people's opinions. Okay, be grateful for them because people try to help. People, people like to help you, and but take it with a grain of salt, because the only person that knows what you need is you, once you are in tune with that.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
it was it was amazing, and then I just felt unstoppable,
Yeah.
and the it's like beyond confidence. It's just it's yeah, it's truly, it's divinity. And I was part of uh this online forum,
Mhm.
Raw Vegan Heroes, Shane Sterling, Raw Vegan Rising, for people who don't know him, of him. He's great, pushes the juice fasts a lot. I was on there for support because I didn't know anybody in human form that was doing anything like that.
Mhm.
And I just remember posting here and there on the progress. And in the beginning, I was asking questions like, "Oh, like, do we need iodine, for example?" Things like that. And by, I don't know, day 80, I was just already posting about like, "Holy crap, everyone! We are amazing creatures. We have everything within us. We do not need all this BS. We're it." And I just remember like falling asleep reading like the Essene Gospel of Peace, like,
Mm.
uh, you know,
Is that's the one talking about
mm-hmm,
Jesus? What did you
yeah.
get from that book?
It just reinforced that I was doing the right thing. It kept talking about like cleanse yourself of the atrocities of this world and things like that. It just was a big reinforcer. And then I got into books a little bit later on, like Man's Higher Consciousness. We talked about it last time. That was the ultimate, and I still go back to that when I need to remind myself, you guys, this is cool, this is fun, but this is the real deal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, coming back for sure. And while you were talking, we had a quick question for you, Annette. Actually, Jed is asking fruit or green juice or both. Like, what were you juicing during those 315 days?
in the beginning, I was doing like half green, half fruit,
Mhm.
and then I I intuitively went as I was on my fast. So I think it was actually around day 80 or so, I had a real calling to do
Mm.
grapes, just grapes. So I did just grape, lemon, and ginger, that combination,
Mhm.
for like a month and a half. And then I think watermelon season came around, and that just makes juicing so much easier, because one melon is like 3 to 4 quarts of juice. um, so I got pretty heavy into watermelon and grape still. like once the grapes showed their magic to me,
Mm.
they were in the game until like I couldn't get a hold of organic anymore for cheap because out of season. So I kept those around as long as I could. Um, and a lot of orange juice too. I love orange juice. So I did do a lot of fruit juice.
Okay.
Towards didn't do much green. Like I always keep green around. It's just it's not. I don't know. Maybe I just don't like washing and juicing the green.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we're gonna.
It can still get time consuming, just like just like cooking used to get time consuming,
I didn't.
And
Sorry. Go ahead.
what would you say would be the benefits, or what would you say would be the pluses of mono juicing? Like only grape and only orange and only watermelon for like these set periods of time.
I mean, you're for me. It just kept me like it's at that point. It's like the nuanced things. Like I was just a little more focused, a little more easy and on point. Listening to myself a little easier. The more I complicated things, the more it complicated my mind, my my thought patterns. So I think really the simplicity made me more simple in handling myself through life.
Yeah. That's awesome. They say that, and you've probably heard this already, Annette. They say how we do anything is how we do everything.
Everything. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So the simplicity that you brought to that brought simplicity everywhere else.
Mm-hmm. And back to the green juices, now that we're talking about, that's exactly why I kind of like steered clear of them towards the end. I just didn't want to spend time in my
Right.
kitchen. I wanted to do other things. I wanted to keep things simple instead of, it was really about simplicity,
For
yeah.
sure. For sure. Last time I was asking you, how you described yourself. And I remember in the beginning you were saying, Annette, that you felt like, for a lot of the time, you felt like things were kind of artificial, and you always had questions, and you were like this person that would inquire, what is this, what is that, why is these things that way, why are people acting like this? And you saw a lot of artificial things, and you even fell in love with punk rock, so what do you feel like was it that drew you to punk rock? I'd love to hear about bite marks. I'd love to hear about what has this done for you in your life? How did it kind of change your philosophy?
Oh, I mean, punk rock is all about nonconformity. So it gave me a community from a young age. Like, I mean, I was like, 11 or 12 in middle school, and I didn't fit into what was supposed to be cool. Like, in movies and stuff, cheerleaders and stuff. And that's all good. If that makes you happy, that's cool. But I didn't feel drawn to any of that. And when I discovered punk rock, it was like, oh, this encourages you to just be yourself. And like, I'm a really mellow person, but like the aggression of the music communicated a lot of the feelings that I had inside of myself about this
Mm.
place. Like, I mean, I remember one of my earliest memories. I asked my mom, "What is all of this? Like, how did this happen? Who made it?"
Yeah.
My mom said, "God." And I said, "Oh, God, yeah." And then and she said, "But a lot of people don't believe in God." And I said, "What? How?" And she said, "I don't know." I said, "They're stupid. It's all in front of us. It's right here." Like just that foundational thing made me really confused about this place. And then when punk rock was introduced to my life, it was like people asking the same types of questions about the whole system of our lives. And angry about it and wanting to change it. And I mean, that's the first time I ever heard of veganism before there was any, thing on the TV or like this whole recent big vegan movement. I knew what vegans were because like a lot of crust punk rocks talks about animal liberation. I mean, in the 80s there were bands like Earth Crisis that were pushing veganism
Mhm.
because people have this isn't a new deal, I mean, aside from punk rock, this is of course existed, but I had friends who were vegan back then, and showing me what that was all about and stuff. It
Wow.
was yeah, it's very cool. And with your question about bite marks,
Mhm.
it's amazing. It's it's a creative outlet to stay in that realm, but like put the feelings outside. And it's it's been really fun. It's an involved little community art form that allows um, further expression than just yeah, in an art form.
It looks fun, you know? Like I was just feeling the energy of the music and the vibe, like the vibration you were putting out on stage when I was watching you on the keys. You know, I watched you on the keyboard and I just seen you like banging your head, you know? Like you're just in it. You're just standing there in this solidarity. You're just like standing there. You're just a figure, but you're like the energy is emitting, you know, it's radiating, it's pulsating, and then you got your singer on the mic and he's like just singing, and then everybody's just on one accord, and I think the bass player or somebody's there or something like that. So it was just awesome just to see you in that element after seeing you in this element, to see you just here, just chill, just chill, just hanging, just cool, and then to see you on stage just rocking it out. I'm like, wow, you have so many facets, so many sides, kind of like a diamond. You see so many different colors. When you turn it, you see a lot of different images. So there's just many, many more facets to you, many more sides to you, and it sounds like punk rock was bringing out of you the things that were on the inside. You were bringing it out to the outside. Is that right?
Absolutely. And thank you for saying that. That's so kind. That really warms my heart.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. If for y'all who've never seen her perform, go follow Bite Marks on YouTube. I think it's called Bite Marks with an X, right?
Yeah, that's us.
Bite Marks. Check it out on YouTube. See her perform on stage. It's awesome. So it even sounds like amongst the friends that even veganism was almost like revolutionary during that time. It was like you were running into people that knew about it before it really hit the mainstream, I guess.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. When people would kind of make fun of it, like, it's been cool to see the progression that it's made it into the mainstream though. Like I never thought that I mean, I used to go like searching on the internet when I went to different cities to make sure, oh, is there like a vegan spot or do I have to keep it really simple? And now it's just everywhere, which is amazing. Like, even when I went to Europe, it's so easy. Raw vegan was even pretty accessible. Like, I wanted to, I didn't go to any of the cafes out there. Because I just kept it simple. But it was nice to see that there were like at least two raw places in each city. So it's something I thought I'd never see back when I was a teenager.
Yeah. It is a lot more accessible, a lot more widespread, a lot more mainstream when it comes to, like you said, the restaurants on different corners. It's not all McDonald's and all KFC and Arby's and Taco Bell and Popeyes. Now you're seeing different vegan spots and different eateries in the mix. And also, when I was in Los Angeles, I think I was off of Van Nuys. I was in Sherman Oaks, and I was in different places where I even saw pressed juiceries where all they sold was juice.
Mm.
They had juiceries, where there was nothing but juice on the shelves. There was no food of any kind. And I even seen an oxygen bar. You ever been to an oxygen
No,
bar?
no, tell me more.
It was like you would put these things in your nose, like kind of like the characters on Dune. They had things in their nose, so you'd put these things in your nose, and you were oxygen, like it was oxygenating you. There were different flavors like lemongrass and eucalyptus and lavender, and you're just smelling and you're inhaling this oxygen. So I was like, wow, this is straight up air. You know, we've graduated. We've graduated. Like, we came from that. Now we're ascending somehow, you know, it's coming in. So that was an experience.
Did you
Yeah.
go to the oxygen bar?
Yeah, I was in there. That was during my breatharian retreat with Ellie Tom. You know Ellie Tom?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I've seen a lot of his stuff.
So I was with him, and I think it was 8 or 9 of us, and we were all together for 8 or 9 days. And that was my very first pranic retreat with him. And just one of the places that we went when we were just walking, because we'd walk to different places, was that oxygen bar. And we went in there, and everybody was just, you know, just taking in all the oxygen from these machines. We would sit next to each other. I still got pictures of us in there. We look so geeky. We
Have
look
to
so,
see that.
so, yeah.
So the
So, huh?
retreat, this was a retreat?
Yeah, that was the first retreat I did back in 2020. Early in 2020, it was January. Yeah.
Dude, can you tell me more about it?
Oh my gosh. So, yeah, so the first retreat when I did that with Ellie Tom, we were with each other for about 9 days, I'd say about. And I knew that I wanted to fast during the retreat, but I didn't necessarily know what kind of fast I was going to do. Leading up into it, I was still with the monks and nuns. I think I might have told you last time about being with the monks. Yeah, I think I told you.
Uh,
So with them, I started tapering off my consumption, and I started drinking less and less. And then I got to the point where since they don't eat afternoon, I wouldn't drink afternoon. So I just kind of converted that philosophy of just not having anything afternoon with just being dry till the next day. So having all my liquids in the beginning. That got my body adjusted to the point where one day my body just told me when I woke up, I remember it was just like, hey Jerome, actually we're good today. Like we don't really need anything today. And I was like, oh really? Okay. Let's let's see. And then the day went, I was good. So then the next day came and I said, well, if I still feel good tomorrow, I'll keep going. And then the next day came, I said, oh, if I still feel good tomorrow, I'll keep going. And then it went like that until I was on a 5-day dry fast, going into the retreat dry. And then after the 9 days, I came out the retreat dry. So I just went in, came out, and that's when everything blew up. That's when I feel like I made a full transition at that point and really felt like what I feel like is that pranic state where I was connected to everything. The air felt like water. It was blowing my mind. You know, I'm just looking crazy. I'm just walking down the street smiling. There's homeless people over here. They're begging for food. There's, you know, luxurious restaurants over here. People are spending, you know, thousands of dollars. And I'm like in the middle of it, kind of, where is, like, what, does anybody not know that we don't need it? You know, I'm just like,
oh my
my
God.
mind was just, I was like, how could I not have known, you know? So every concept was being broken down, every belief was being broken, my ego was being broken, my reality was being shattered, and I just kind of was like, okay, I know nothing. I went back to 0 point. It humbled me to back to ground level, and it was like, okay, show me, because clearly I know nothing. Clearly, you know, if I'm still alive after all of that, if I'm still standing and I'm walking 10 miles a day and I have more energy than I ever felt having all that protein and eating all that stuff, if I have more energy now, then I know nothing, right? There clearly something's off here. So that made me question everything, just like, you know, when you were saying you were younger, you were questioning so many things. That brought way more questions into my life than I even bargained for.
Wow.
But it led me on this journey here. So yeah.
And What kinds of things did you notice different from when you were still drinking to when you were fully pranic?
You know, it was a it was a higher level of sensitivity. Like I still drink today, you know, I still drink juice and I still consume liquids. But back when I was on nothing, you know, just on the ether, working with the qigong, working with the energy and just breathing, doing breath work, my sensitivity was through the roof. Like I felt like an animal, you know, I felt like what they call our supernatural abilities, like even the five senses, even my five senses got heightened. Like it took my regular five senses, it took them to another level that I didn't even know I could go. You know, I mean, full disclosure, I used to think that my nose was broken, right? I thought that I couldn't smell anything. When I started letting go and I let go completely, I could smell everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything.
Wow.
So going into like a grocery store, that became an experience. It wasn't even about consuming, it wasn't even about grabbing any juice. It was just about smelling, just walking up and down the aisles, just sniffing the air. You know, I was going in Grand Central Market in downtown Los Angeles, just sniffing like an animal. You know, I was like, how, you know, I was just, it just was euphoric. It was like a nosegasm, like an orgasm in my nose. And I felt like I was eating through my nose, and that I felt I was literally having the experience of eating the food without ever touching it. It was just I was just inhaling the aroma, and it was pleasurable. I was on cloud nine. I was high. I
Wow.
was high. So I was like, if I can get high on my own supply like this, then there's no need. You know, what else do I need?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Amazing.
thank you, thank you for asking that question because it just often it brings me down memory lane to know how far you've come because sometimes we forget, you know, certain instances we run up into things and situations happen and sometimes when life takes a turn, you know, takes a 180 or when you get into the self-sabotage frequency or when you get into the blame and the guilt and the shame and you find yourself going back to old patterns, you forget
You
that.
forget, and
Yeah,
memory sparked, it brings those sensations and feelings back. And what a reminder that must be.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So it just reminds me like peace can be just a breath away, like bliss can be a breath away, fulfillment and just everything that you're looking for is like right under your nose. Literally, it's right there. You know, you're looking for it out there. It's right here. It's right here. So, you know, while we were speaking, Annette, and I know that we can actually were brought together by a lovely soul, Julie. You know, Julie.
So good. She's amazing. She's so amazing. Speaking of Julie, before you continue,
Okay.
she really inspired my extended fast.
Okay.
I watched a lot of people um, while I was gathering, more information about doing an extended one because if I was gonna do it, I wanted to be really like prepared and knowledgeable if I ran into things. Just knowing that I don't know anyone else doing
Mhm.
it, I wanted to be pretty self-reliant. But I watched her YouTube videos and she was so relatable for me. She was the most relatable. The way she expressed herself, the way she still is so authentic, so true and so fearlessly herself. I was just so inspired. I love her. She's amazing. Um but yes, continue. And that's Raw Vegan
Yeah.
Family, Julie. Um, so yeah, please continue.
Shout out to Julie. You know, she is amazing. She's doing so much for different communities. She's created her home community, you know, and she's really shining a lot of light in the world, for sure.
And show
For sure.
people that you can, you know, be, go through pregnancy, raw vegan, raise your children raw
Right.
vegan. She is revolutionary. extraordinary. She is amazing, magical, beautiful human
Hmm.
being out there for everybody else to see and be inspired.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's tremendous. It just lets you know what we're capable of. You know, it lets you know what can be done. They say it's only impossible until it's done. You know? Yeah, I love that quote. I love that quote. When she put a comment down here earlier, Julie was saying that, hey guys, Annette's vibe is so calm and sure. I love it. When was that video with Ageless Beauty? So she's talking about Ageless Beauty. So when you were with Jamie Love, and I saw the other day you had an interview with Jamie and Taylor Budd.
Yeah,
So when did you meet Taylor?
that was around, I don't know, April or May earlier this year. Yeah, it was my first interview I've ever done, and I was really nervous. But yeah, that was earlier this year. Um, yeah, that was great. I I I read a lot of Taylor's stuff when I was on my extended fast as well. Watched a lot of his videos, and we had communicated back and forth here and there. But he told me that he was going to be in Los Angeles, and Jamie and I were going to do an interview together. She's awesome as well, by the way. And I told her, Taylor's going to be around. You know, do you guys want to do it together? We just got it all together, and that that's how it went.
Awesome. So that was actually your first time meeting him? Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I enjoyed the conversation, just the bouncing back of ideas and, what you said about just the state of the world and how people are focused on things that, don't really matter, bringing the focus back to what matters, like you said earlier, putting it on the inside instead of externalizing it on the outside, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah,
And
that
speaking of which, you had mentioned, I told you this when I got back from the trip. On my flight back, I watched The Matrix Resurrection and Doctor Strange, which, both happen to be kind of older, the only two really older movies on that flight, hidden in sight. And it was talking about in Matrix Resurrection. You were so right, first of all, that they just really it's tell it like it is, what it is. And at one point, the guy said, you know, people don't want to wake up. People like being controlled and told what to do, um, and they feed off of desire and fear, and it just goes back to that. I don't believe people want to be controlled, and I believe it's the blockages that make them think they do.
Hmm. Okay. So you feel like it's what's within us, the blockages that are making us think we actually want to be controlled?
Yeah, the blockages in the programming, because I feel like those things make us kind of docile in a way,
Hmm.
and afraid to take responsibility of ourselves. But once that, yes, under a spell, I see somebody posted
Yeah,
that.
good.
And once that spell is lifted, it's like you can't wait to get out and
Hmm.
live. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And Doctor Strange, what did you get from that movie? What did you glean? What were your takeaways?
siphoning the life force energy out of people,
Hmm.
children. I mean, I think it's done to all of us, but yeah,
Oh, wait. No, so that's Doctor Sleep.
my
Doctor
bad.
Sleep, that's a different movie. That's a
Doctor,
different one. Yeah, Doctor Sleep is different than Doctor Strange.
I have to watch Doctor Strange because of you. It's number one on my movies list. I'll get back to you on that next time.
Yeah, but I think Doctor Sleep, did that have did that have, was that the Akashic Records with the girl who could go into like a library? Was she like astral projecting and
Yes.
like
Yeah.
lucid dream? Okay.
She was lucid dreaming. Yeah.
Hmm.
And yeah, she was going into. I didn't. Was that supposed to be the Akashic records?
That's what I
Was
kind of, I mean, symbolically, I kind of saw it that way because it was like a library. You know, at certain times it was a library, and then for her there was like a, you know, file cabinets with things inside the file cabinet, and it was just kind of like a storage area for a lot of information. You know,
Mhm.
so I don't know. That's kind of how I felt. But how did you feel when you saw it?
um. It it was just energy vampires.
Hmm.
Energy vampires. I mean, I thought it was very realistic. The same way the Matrix um, did it. They're taking these ideas and personifying them, creating them into these characters, and like the Matrix, like in the resurrection, it was a lot of fighting, but it was symbolic of how much the Matrix tries to pull you back in. It's like you realize it, you got it, you know, but it will still keep trying, and at times you'll go back,
Yeah.
and then you'll have to rediscover it again, and then like you have to work actively to deprogram because it's so all encompassing. It surrounds you with like the family was trying to come back to him from the Matrix and pull him back, and he was about to go and leave Trinity again, and it's just yeah, the way they personified these things, the way they personified the energy vampires, it was just so dark yet so beautifully done.
Yeah, it really is a beautiful like illustration of it because I mean, that still to this day, it's my favorite movie of all time. The first one, the first Matrix.
Hmm.
And, you know, when Morpheus was breaking down to Neo to tell him that, you know, they were turning us into a battery, he held up a battery, you know? And it's like you said with the energy vampire, like siphoning the energy. In that movie, it was all about the machines, you know, keeping people in the program, keeping them in the simulation, the Matrix, with the stimulation of the simulation to siphon their vibration, you know, to siphon the energy. And even my I don't know if my cat is over here somewhere. Neo, Neo, he's over there. He's over there sleeping.
Oh,
Neo,
it was neat.
the cat in the movie was called Deja Vu.
Oh.
He was just sleeping. He was sleeping. But anyway, the cat in the movie was called Deja Vu, right?
Uh-huh. I mean, I don't fully remember that,
I
but
think so. There was like a in the Resurrections, I think there was a psychologist. He was like a therapist and he had like this cat and I think the cat was called Deja Vu if I remember.
yes, yes,
But
I
and
so.
and even in the first Matrix, the first movie when they were going up the stairs, you know, Neo sees a cat and it's just like and it walks and then he's like, "Oh." And then he sees the cat again and he's like he looks he's like wait a minute, you know, like deja vu, like it was they were like wait what did you see, and he said I saw a cat but I thought it was the same cat. They said oh it's a glitch, it's a glitch, everybody go 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 go, you know, like everybody just, you know, the whole program they knew that something was out of whack because something in the system had glitched, you know. So what would you say is the equivalent in our reality of like a glitch in the matrix? What would you call a glitch in the system?
Oh boy. Oh, that's a really tough question. You have to tell me one of yours first. I need some inspiration.
Oh, well, I would say us, you know, people who like your friends when they were breaking away from the mainstream and going vegan when no one around them was going vegan. You know, I'd say that's a glitch in the matrix. You know, it's like a diversion deviating from the set path that many people are on in life. You become the glitch in the matrix, you know, when you become the anomaly. You become that person that is kind of going somewhere else. Like everyone else is going to the left, and you're going to the right.
That's
You know,
yeah. The black sheep.
the black sheep. They call it the black. Why do they call it the black sheep?
The white ones all follow each other.
There you go. There you go. So I've always felt like the black sheep in my family because all of my family, I mean, yeah, I'm the only one who's doing what I'm doing. But yeah, you know, sometimes I feel like it's okay because I guess I have an advantage slightly because I'm used to being alone. I was raised an only child. I had to find my own friends, and I got comfortable being alone. So when people talk about the pranic journey, you know, the breatharian path or whatever they want to call it, living on liquids, living on lighter forms of sustenance, they say it's very lonely. You know what I mean? Uh-oh, do you need a
No,
charger?
I just
Okay, little chilly? No worries, no worries. No worries.
okay.
I forgot where I was going with that. But
Was
do you have time?
alone in the breatharian. You were talking about how you're comfortable being alone in the pranic
Yeah,
lifestyle.
just because a lot of people say it's very lonely, you know, I still maintain a big social life, even though I'm not eating. I still talk to everybody I meet. You know, that's never changed. So, I mean, they don't know how I live. You know, so why tell them?
Yeah,
Why tell them?
I
Yeah.
agree. I I love that. That's beautiful.
So, you know, right before we go, I did have just a few more I don't know how much time you have, Annette.
I have like another half hour.
Oh, okay. So I had a few questions for you, just like kind of some rapid fire questions. I've never done this. I've never done this before, but I think it'd be interesting.
Okay,
You ready?
let's do. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So the first one is, what is a person that you would trade places with for a day? Who is one person you would trade places with?
Oh my God, that's a tough question. I think I would trade places with a longer term breatharian
Hmm.
and feel those sensations and see what that entails. Um, because, and I say that because when I was doing my long fast and towards the end where I was really all consuming almost nothing, drinking maybe like 16 ounces of something a day, um, I was so sensitive and I didn't know how to handle it.
Hmm.
And I wonder, perhaps if I had stuck it out longer, would I have settled into that? It was too much stimuli, maybe for what I was doing at the time. I was working in recovery, um, like with people who have addiction and mental illness. And I love doing that, don't get me wrong, but I take a lot of it home with me just because I am very emotional myself and sensitive naturally. Um, it just got really too much for me, but I wonder how that would feel longer term given the right circumstances, meaning not working in a job like that and everything. So yeah, I think I would want to switch places with a longer term breatharian.
Interesting. Interesting. Wow. That's not what I mean, I didn't know what you would say, but that definitely wasn't, that's a surprise. That's a
What were you
surprise. Interesting.
expecting?
I, I didn't know what I was maybe thinking of I don't know, maybe a celebrity of the past or maybe somebody, you know, throughout time or maybe you know, somebody you might have revered, but you said a longer term breatharian. That is very interesting. That's very interesting. So let me see. Okay, what is a guilty pleasure?
A guilt Guilty pleasure.
Yeah, just something you would call like a guilty pleasure that many people don't know about you.
I mean, as of recent, it's what I told you about yesterday. Is going off on some durian right now, which is yeah, amazing. I want to do it again today, but I don't. It's a little too much today. But yeah, going on off on some breatharian, going off on some durian. I don't know what a guilty pleasure is really.
Well, yeah, yeah, that would be it, like just having some time with some durian,
Having
some,
some,
some durian downtime. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or like ordering a lot of stuff from Wild Living Food, this restaurant that if you haven't been, everyone go, or Olak, and just making an event of that. Like that is, yeah, I enjoy that, but like I can't do it often.
When you describe it, it sounds like a plant-based paradise.
I told you last time it's Disneyland.
Okay, Disney is an amusement park. You're just going on this ride. Let's go on that ride next. Let's go on that ride. Let's go. No, I want to.
Oh yeah, are we gonna go on that one? That one's scarier. No, we're.
I love it. I love it. What's the best compliment you've ever received, Annette?
Oh boy, someone said some really nice things to me the other day. It's funny, I don't do well with compliments, but um, he said something like kind and intelligent, loving, helpful Annette, a literal angel, and yeah, compliments in general. I'm just but yeah, that was very, very nice to hear. I can't think of like the best compliment, but that was a really nice compliment.
Yeah, an angel on earth. An
So
angel on earth. Yeah. Do you receive that? Like when you hear somebody say kind, intelligent, loving, helpful, like even though it kind of maybe shy to receive those compliments, does it sink in? Does it go in?
yeah, it really does. I feel it because it does make me realize I am actually these things. I do kind of try to live by that, and I don't really notice the intelligent part, but that's just kind of like when it's but
I definitely notice it.
thank you. Yeah, that was a really nice compliment. It
Yeah,
really warmed my entire being
yeah.
here. So
The most intelligent people in my eyes, like in my opinion, the wisest people I've ever known, the most intelligent people were the ones who asked questions. You know what I mean? Not the ones who thought they knew everything.
waiting to talk instead of
You know what I mean? Like when you hear somebody who thinks they know everything, and you've heard people, you've known people, maybe you have, there's people in my family that they think they know it all, then it's like you cap off the learning right there. Like, what else can you learn if you think you know everything?
hmm
So the moment you ask a question, like you beautifully, you ask me questions, that means like you're willing to say in that moment, I don't know everything, you know? What more can I learn? That's the wisest thing we can do.
absolutely. Yes, I
So,
agree. That's a really cool thing to point out.
yeah. So you are super intelligent, super intelligent. That's a sign of intelligence. So, what's the worst piece of advice you've ever received?
Oh boy. I mean, a lot of advice I receive is bad. A major one is don't pursue a career in what you're interested in, like, healing naturally, raw foods, juicing, fasting, all of that, because it doesn't make money or not enough people are into it. And it's like, that's all I want to spread. Anything else is not worthwhile.
Mm.
So, no, I'm not listening. Like, go be a real estate agent. Oh yeah,
Good.
yeah. That was a pretty crappy, crummy piece of advice.
Oh man, oh
I
man.
have to ask you, what's yours?
Worst piece of advice?
Yeah.
Don't ever change.
Oh,
Don't ever.
that's
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel like if I never would have changed, man, so many things would have remained the same. I mean, I'd still be sitting on the couch playing video games. You know, now I don't even have a television. There was a time when Annette, I never thought, never in a million years, that I would stop playing video games. Like
wow.
I thought I was gonna be sitting on that couch, and I was content. Don't get me wrong, I was complacent, but I was content to sit on that couch for the rest of my life, playing video game, like just injecting my consciousness into a virtual reality on a screen and just leveling up my avatar, increasing my stats, finding loot. That was me, like I was content. I fantasized about being in that reality forever. I never thought I would ever stop. And
Wow.
it took one of the most challenging times for me to break away from that consciousness. Yeah, yeah. So it really, really rocked my world. So the don't change part, now what I find so fulfilling to me could never be satisfied from what it used to be, you
You're
know?
your own avatar.
Exactly. Exactly. So now I'm playing the video game of life. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you for asking.
Thank you
Yeah.
for answering.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me see. Just a couple more. What what is something you wish you were better at?
Oh, social media.
Really? This right here?
Yeah, I wish I was better at. Well, I wish I. So I have a big aversion to screens,
Hmm.
and this is the way to spread messages in 2024. And I've been doing all my things in human form up until now, and I I want to be better at this. Making reels, interviews, things like that. So working on developing this skill.
For
That's
sure.
truly it. Being less turned off to, like, I don't want to be on screens. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. It's not something I desire still, but I'd like to um, be less turned off to use them
Hmm.
functionally, and then go about my day. Like, discipline a little bit of time here and there to accomplish goals, and then move on and live life.
Right.
Yeah, that's a truly honest answer.
No, it is. It is, and I thank you for that. Thank you for being honest and candid, just thank you for being transparent. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a momentary I wish I was good at. So, yeah.
For sure. And I mean, when it comes to this conversation, I mean, you're a natural, you know, you're a natural. So that's all this is, this like we're just having a conversation. That's why I like to take the weight off of people when they feel a lot of pressure. I don't feel any pressure, because we're just two human beings. Yeah, we're just talking to each other.
Yeah, yeah. I also mean kind of like making the videos and cutting
Right.
them, editing, and all of those things. Yeah, that
Yeah,
require screen. But you're amazing. I love talking to you. I truly do. Yeah.
well,
No, just natural. You're just an awesome person.
thank you. I appreciate that. Like, it's developed, like the reel making, content creating, podcasting, all of that stuff has developed over time, and it's just been a practice, you know, for me, just like anything, just it's just gotten easier. But there's so many nuances that I want to get better at as well. So, what what never fails to make you laugh?
Oh boy. I laugh at absurdity a lot. I any
Absurdity.
absurdity. I laugh at absurd things. Anything that's just really against the grain, it just makes me laugh so much.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, just silly, weird things make me laugh. I'd like to give an example that's not crude.
It can be crude, it's fine. You know, this is not, you know, it's fine.
Oh boy. There's just one that's coming to mind a lot. It's really
Yeah,
uh,
what is it? What's a crude example?
oh, my friend was telling me about our like this other person we know that her and her boyfriend's relationship is suffering because he's they're like in their early 30s. He's going to like casinos and sleeping with um like very old women. Like he's a sex addict, and to get back at him, she's sleeping with old men. This is the geriatric like situation. Just yeah, that this the way the whole story was told, I was laughing in my car for like a good 20 minutes. I said it was crude. It was yeah, that
So,
one.
like, out of
Yeah.
revenge. So she's getting him back. He's making love to, okay, elderly ladies, you're saying, and to get him back, she's going to elderly men.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and like when you like picture the people involved, it just makes it really funny because they're like pretty like superficial, like stupid. It's forget it.
I got you. I got you.
Jeez,
Uh, Go ahead.
he just said, "Geez, Louise."
Okay, the last one. What do you consider to be your greatest achievement?
um, being comfortable, being myself, and expressing myself
Mm,
fearlessly. That's truly, yeah, and and sharing with others what I've learned, the truths that I've learned in the process.
beautiful. Beautiful. Wow. Thank you for sharing. You know, thank you for caring. Thank you for daring. You know,
In the
thank you.
spirit of the last question, you got to answer it too.
Oh, just for me, my greatest achievement, I guess, is just like I just kept going. Like there's been many times where I've wanted to stop, but there's something in me that couldn't. Like I always just look back and I remember that one person who she sent me like an email or a message out of the blue, and I started my podcast back in 2018, and I think it was in 2019, and I mean I was making episodes every day on my podcast. Not many people were listening, like maybe one or two listeners each time. And this girl sent me a message, and she told me that something that I said stopped her from hurting herself. Like she was contemplating, she was so down, she was so depressed, she was so just life had just been wrecked, you know? And she was thinking of just letting go of everything and just ending it all right there. And she said she listened to an episode of my podcast. I don't even remember what I said, but whatever I said, she said it stopped her. And she just me for that, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, I remember I cried, like tears came down my eyes, and I just was like thinking, this must be what I'm here for, to use my voice to have that kind of impact, to change lives. Like, can I use my voice? Is this why I'm here? Like, is this why I'm here? You know? So that was a moment for me to know, like, just keep going, just don't stop, just keep going no matter what. And I guess that's what I would feel like is my greatest achievement is just the ability to just keep going. Yeah. Because, yeah, we all have days that we wake up and we don't want to keep going, but we keep going.
Wow. Wow. And you're just putting more of that out there. It's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. So, so yeah, we're in this together, Annette. You're not alone. You're on this journey with people who support you, and I'm one of those people. So just thank you again for coming on here, just being so candid, so honest, and just so down to earth with, even the crude things, right? Even the rude things. Just, I love your personality, and I love that you're embracing things that many people are afraid to, There's a lot of fear surrounding things that you embrace so wonderfully in your life, and I just commend you for continuing as well.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And likewise, all of the above. I love talking to you as well. So thank you for having me.
absolutely. Well, enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Have a great day.
Take care.